Welcome everyone to live Linux distribution development live here on this channel. Some late night, other time zone special edition for the international viewers. You might have seen there on the main channel the issues with broken and complex x86 chips and the firmware update. And the amazing thing is that, as so often, I even learn new stuff that I would not even think. For example, I thought even the Linux kernel documentation said get this together in CPIO and stuff, and only then yesterday someone commented it's like, yeah, you can load Init Rd, like you can load two Init Rds with some bootloaders like grub and maybe in the meantime this Linux. But there's also things, so that means we can package the microcode, because previously I had this here, like the Linux kernel documentation, outlined as an example. I didn't even think too much about this. So previously I had here example code with the microcode to prepend that here to the CPIO image. And I said this is annoying to work with because then you can't just uncompress it and so on. So that we can load two in grub is of course a game changer. But there are still gazillions of different things. So for example, where do we compress that, right? Also theoretically, so because then it's also silly, and I just want to outline there also complexity, right? It's not like one thing and just do it. No, there's like dozens of different ways, if not infinite, obviously, if you count each keystroke you could make in this universe. But theoretically, if we have the firmware in like as Intel and AMD U-code in boot, then we wouldn't need this in lib firmware, right? Like, why have it twice? And in total, it's 15 megabyte, especially the Intel one is or 13. Actually, I can check. Why is this so large? That is interesting. Okay, it's probably some 15. I think I probably actually clobbered that. I probably appended that twice. 270? No. Oh, come on. AMD. Probably. So yeah. In an ideal world, I would only want to have this once. Yeah, 12 megabyte. Whatever I said before. And welcome everyone. So in an ideal world, like, why have it in lib firmware when it's not usually used there, or in a default kernel build without late loading support? It's never used, and it should not be used. So theoretically, in an ideal world, because I was thinking like, what do I do now, right? In an ideal world, then I would say we should only have it in boot, remove it from Linux firmware because then it's pointless there, and theoretically also change the Intel firmware package to generate this already. The only thing is, it's so many changes, right? So maybe in an ideal world, also there's another thing, and I just want to outline the design complexity, right? It's not like just simply do it like that. It's like, no, you can do it door number A, B, C, pass number A, B, C. The next thing is, in a super ideal world, we could also create an AMD U code and an Intel U code and only load that depending, for example, in grub, right? We could have in grub, I believe it has an CPU ID module. If not, we could hack it. It's not that difficult. So theoretically, you could even, because like, why load 12 megabyte of Intel U code if you don't need it anyway, right? So in a super perfect world, I would even in grub config like CPU ID, whatever that module supports is there, or hack it in whatever. Like if Intel, then load Init Rd, if AMD, then otherwise if VR, Centaur, and so on, then not, especially on 32-bit, right? Like, why bother on a Cyrix or whatever 32-bit vintage thing, and also vintage things, those things, right? So, but the other thing is, that causes another problem, right? So basically, there are dozens of ways, and all of them has pro and cons, right? So in the super ideal world, where we would do this conditionally, we have the next thing, because kexec, right? If we do this in grub dynamically, we would not know if we kexec that. And also kexec does, by the way, as far as I know, not support multiple Init Rd. So for kexec kernel-based reboot execution, we would need to again duplicate the code. Or the benefit of having only one boot microcode, then kexec, and having that statically in the grub config, then kexec could use the same with the drawback of loading 12, 30 megabyte. And ironically, as seen in the more main channel video, right, most systems, or nearly all systems I have here, the handful I tested, none of them has matching microcode update, right, in the Linux firmware. So much to always. Oh, and so basically, the other question is, should we even do this complexity? I mean, in an ideal world, yes, because everything is buggy and broken, hashtag peak bugs. So theoretically, we should do this, but on the other hand, most systems don't match, except maybe quite some Intel systems. Maybe I should actually check with the Microsoft Surface if Intel microcode or the Mac Mini. Yeah, I should test this. So long story short, what do I do now? I will probably do a mix, because as we know, there is not a perfect world. The world and the universe is unfortunately not perfect. We are in a very strange Star Trek Next Generation parallel universe where Q snapped us in some garbage path of history, unfortunately, with everything going on in these crazy times. And so is AMD and Intel and stuff broken. So I will probably do a middle ground for now. I mean, we can always change it, right? Even if we do know whatever path we choose, even if we would implement the most perfect path, which I'm not really the most motivated right now because it doesn't help me much. It could be that next month or next year we find there is new development, new changes. The Linux kernel changes this because whatever your reason. So even if we choose what we think is the most perfect today, might not be the most perfect tomorrow. So I will rather change some middle ground here and make my life a little bit easier. Oh, and then last but not least, whatever complexity with grub and kexec we implement. Also, by the way, in a perfect world, we could actually patch kexec tools to support multiple Init Rds, right? But I think I'd rather write my own microkernel rather sooner than later. So I don't want my life make the most complex, which is why I, for now, I leave Linux firmware and Intel microcode packages as they are. And having this duplicate files just to have them also, like, not to change, like the only constant is change and regressions, right? I don't want to change too much and constantly. And this is only that you learn something of there is not one way. There are dozens of ways and design decisions. And also to keep these files more visible, right? If we would only have them in boot firmware ucode, where we would not, like deduplication, no duplicates, you would not be you couldn't easily navigate them as amazing. You would always need to extract the CPay or stuff. And then the next question is also, in which package do we ship this, right? And because theoretically, then the Linux firmware could generate an AMD microcode file, the Intel you could generate an Intel microcode file, but for now I want to change as little as possible because it's not working the most amazing thanks to Intel and AMD anyway. So for now, I will just change the Init Rd, and by the way, I had, so yeah, how do we do that here? Probably, yeah, I think I removed that here. And so temp dir, so we directly, oh wait, we need that there, right? So this is the mkinit rd, so I leave it in the mkinit rd, although it's not really in there. And so that the kernel package will have its kernel, kernel pre-processed early boot microcode. Ideally, the kernel, of course, the microcode does not have the most to do with the kernel, but given that it's a special Init Rd processing and stuff, I just leave it here for now. Because the code is already in there, and if I would move it somewhere else, the problem is if I would do this in Linux firmware, then I don't have the Intel microcode package. If I do it in the Intel microcode package, it would depend on the Linux firmware package and so on. So to keep stuff simple and not change it the most, and it will also make it easier to have it in grub. If you want, and I don't see the biggest problem of always doing that, because most systems can load 100 megabytes easily, because it's also the other thing, right? Can your bootloader, like 20 years ago, can your bootloader reliably and quickly load 20 megabyte through your interrupt 13 BIOS API? It's like, yeah, good luck. Often not. And slow like that. So what do we have here? So if we have kernel x86 microcode, so if we created one output file, so then do I leave that here in... Yeah, I mean, we can just copy. Do I... Wait a second, why is here... wait a second, is that a bug? Hey, this might actually be a bug, or why do we have auto? Or did I touch this already? Are we shipping that like that? Interesting, that is a bug, I would say, because we output here into output file, and here do we have... Ah no, I set that here. Why? Ah, I didn't update this. Okay, it's only partially buggy. Interesting, I didn't... Okay, does it have real-world consequences? Maybe not, maybe it's just simplification. So maybe I commit this like that just to have... Or, you know what, I don't need it. Yeah, we can leave it here as a comment. Maybe like that. But I mean, just as a comment for people someone who would want to test it for some reason. Usually I don't leave strict comments everywhere. And so then that would be root. Do we do root, or how do I usually? Yeah, root. So saving that to boot. We call this so other distributions. Archcode grub. I probably should check the comments. I hope I have audio. 0 frames. How do they call that? So yeah, they have two. And so the problem with that, I think I call this microcode for now. I don't want to separate them because the problem is I want that stuff works out of the box, right? Because also normal people don't care. And especially if you want already fixed microcode, imagine there is once a severe bug. You install it in the data center and you can't install reliably, so even the installer should theoretically do that already, right? Otherwise, so I guess for now I call this, yeah, alternately manage manufacture ucode. What else do they have there? Yada yada, something, whatever. Well, we should check the comments. And welcome everyone. So many. So yeah, welcome everyone. Experience with assembler. Binary exploitation. Assembler, yes, I have experience, but assembler is not really required. Usually in the Linux kernel or other kernels, you usually write high level code. And welcome everyone. Assembly code is only beneficial if you write high performance rated code or other security, like really low level stuff, virtualization, and other workaround bugs and security mitigations. Genre is going to buy 1750X, but I didn't. Should I keep? It's like I usually, I mean, before I had a company, I used stuff until it was painfully slow or stuff. I mean, my recommendation is always use your stuff as long also for your saving money, investing into other things, your life and family, and environment friendly. Use your stuff until it falls apart and you can't use it anymore. Stuff. Or I mean, if you need the performance, maybe sell it early used on some eBay or stuff. Sell it then earlier to get some better money back before it's completely vintage. People discuss their age, 3 years of experience. Okay, probably don't need, yeah, so free. Also, I want to, if you want that I should read comments less and best, like members and stuff, like give some appreciation to all the efforts here, so that I preferably respond to members and stuff, right, or super chats. Firmware, so boot, microcode, image, they called that, right? And microcode image. That is not all, so that should hopefully work. I leave that here, like if you wanted to prepend that to your Init Rd. Then we also need that, unfortunately, in the grub bootloader. I mean, in any other bootloader, but most architectures, including ARM and RISC-V or Spark PowerPC, use grub2 now. And as far as I know, the Linux kernel only has microcode for x86 because everything else is reduced complexity and less broken, apparently. Stone. Also, you want syntax highlighting, right? If I don't use a colorful VI, then where's your syntax highlighting? Can't program without syntax highlighting. So Init Rd, so we need to add that here too. Basically, menu entry, I guess labels, and then we need to check whether we have, probably we do that like that. Like local init rd equals this stuff. We basically need to adapt everything, and that is also why I keep this, like if we would have AMD and Intel as outlined in the beginning, then this would become even more complex and cumbersome. Init rd, and because then we can, where do we, oh right, we can simply, if, yeah, let's prepend that, so it's always init rd, and if there is a microcode file, then, like, because this code also runs on Spark and PowerPC and all the other architectures, is like, if there is a boot microcode image, oops, Spark keyboard, Sun keyboard, my compose key is my alt graph key. Why is it alt graph now? Wait a second. Should this not be compose? Wait, what was compose? Now I'm confused. I should not look on my keyboard while typing. Then init rd equals that here. Init rd. So that's part of, so this is still not all. Then we have, oh darn, I do this. Oh wait, I also did that in the not best tree actually. Nah, I sort this later, that comes through. I did this in a really old working copy. Okay, I need to sort this in later. Doesn't matter too much for the visualization of this video. Stone mod install, because we have here kexec support, which I'm very proud of, which maybe no other distribution has. Integrated post-install kexec support, which is amazing, the best invention since sliced bread. But we then need to detect whether for kexec, whether this is a, if this are multiple init RDs. And I mean, we could ignore that. Can we ignore that for now? Yeah, we could ignore that for now because we don't. Actually, wait, we don't. Okay, we simply So yeah, theoretically, the problem is maybe nearly only architectures that have grub2 support have kexec. Not all architectures, not even Spark 64, I believe, has kexec. Multi-init Rd microcode image. So if there is, I mean, we could always cat them together, which is not a big issue with 23 gigabyte a second memory transfer speed. Normally on a 386 or so, you would optimize like not to cat them together if you have a low memory, or like P3. You're running out of memory catting this stuff together in tempfs or so. You could do this on an old-fashioned file system. So basically, like if that's more than one init Rd, cat them together. I mean, we could theoretically patch kexec. As far as I looked yesterday, kexec did not, at least until recently, the last time I checked, multi-init Rd support, which is a little bit lame, right? It's like you may need this for your microcode, and then kexec doesn't natively support this, but it's not a big problem, right? It's not a bootloader, it's a full Unix system, so we can just cat those two files together. And then, as I said, installer, right? So that is the next. That is a pretty annoying thing now. Thankfully, we only need that for x86. Complex enough. So here's super old stuff. Which should we actually delete that floppy shit here? Maybe it's time to 2023. Do we even use? Oh wow, make image. What shit is that? 20-year-old code that even I have never used. What even is that? Init Rd boot. I think we probably. Do we need? Did we even have? Lilo? No. So yeah, whatever, it's probably, actually, you know what, it would not surprise me if this is revision 1 from 2003. Yeah, oh no, what? Revision 916? Pending patches, accept, boot disk, what the heck? Yeah, but it's 2003. I guessed right, just not revision 1. Boot disk target to compress the init Rd? I have no idea what's going on there. I mean, theoretically, we could actually check. I mean, maybe someone did some root stuff with some floppy or stuff. Or we could check how much this changed the tree, right? If there is some hidden code somewhere in target boot disk. I guess. Do we still have that? Don't even have that anymore. Rightfully so. Okay, a little bit excursion to the history of working with floppies. Also make some spring cleaning here in removed x86 vintage Lilo boot disk files, whatever. There, it's gone. Probably form better. So then the, what is this? The ISO config, maybe still the same. So because then we also need to copy the do we copy the init Rd? So basically somewhere we need to copy the microcode 2 if it exists. Yeah, so actually, theoretically, grub1 did support multi-init RDs potentially. Do we have this? Did I delete that? Build report. Yeah, let's remove that, as some sophisticated seeming stuff is coming soon too. Theoretically, grub1, which we still support theoretically, optionally, did support multi-init RD as well already, as early as 2003-ish. But so the syntax is different. It's comma separated, which actually isn't that bad. But I guess for now we only add that for grub2, which I usually build. I slightly wonder if I never was the greatest fan of this Linux stuff. I wonder if I should eventually also just delete this Linux stuff. So CD3 we could either, there we copy the grub stuff once. So we could either pre-copy that once. Build root, boot, microcode image, and then copy that to build root, microcode image, best without typo. Oh wait, we want that here. Oops. Oh, darn. Wait, where did it go? I think there. Copy this code belongs together, maybe even separate it here. So if we have microcode, copy that to iso dir boot and cd add. So maybe the same code here, local init rd equals for argument 5 and if exists, do I have microcode. And theoretically, all of the stuff I should, as we are here, a code and low level and stuff channel. In a perfect world, this probably should not be scattered all over the place. In a perfect code, it would be cool if we would have some kind of module and this would somehow more automatically compose. Yeah, but it is what it is for now. Then init rd equals that and yeah, so that must have init rd this prefix. So theoretically I want, oh right, we did this in the wrong tree, fortunately. So we had architecture x86, we had package stone and package grub2 and package mkinit rd. Let's quickly save that, because I'm not really sure how I ended up in there. Let's apply that here. Darn, that failed. Shit. Was it not up to date? this. Or maybe I had this removed already locally or whatever. Nah, anyway, not the end of the world. Where was it? This was pre-ngrub2. Not really sure how that failed to apply. I had a prepared mem test. This is why this failed to. Yeah, okay, I need to finish that another day too. Build root boot. Does it make some sense? Build SFS boot Microcode. I guess that should be most of it. I only wonder how complete a build I have here. Maybe I have a somewhat complete. Alright, I need build x86. The problem is we now need to rebuild. So yeah, that's actually not that amazing to watch because we need to rebuild all of those packages to have the full effect for testing. That is Stone, MK Init Rd. So theoretically, this maybe we should change for kexec. I mean, theoretically, I mean, okay, to be very super fair, we don't really need that now because if you already booted with an installer that had the init as a microcode loaded, kexec will not load another microcode. So actually, that's not, in a super perfect world, maybe we should do that. Especially maybe if you booted on a non-x86 architecture where the bootloader doesn't do multi... Oh, wait, no, it's only for x86. So yeah, long story short, it's not really that important. Stone MK Init Rd. So yeah, unless we have Init Rd loading for microcode loading for non-x86 architectures. You know what? I short circuit that a little bit because I don't want to rebuild 6 minutes the Linux kernel because that is only a 1550x. Okay, seems. Hello. What? Was this not a complete build? Or was I in the wrong directory? No, that looks like a... I was probably in the wrong... This is... I have... Yeah, so... root this directory and 621, or what was that? T2. We need to regenerate this. So normally you would build that regularly with build system. I want to cut 6 minutes now. For my nerves, energy efficiency and the progress of this live stream. Just to generate the microcode file here. So theoretically I need actually to optimize it further. It's too slow. I mean, only takes 15 seconds. No, too slow for that. So do we have micro? No, we don't. Right, because this was disabled. Very, very clever. Good, but this is also why we test this stuff, right? Recurring theme here. Other people are scared. Previous video of perfect code and unit testing is like, yeah, what's not tested? I mean, all code should be perfect. Otherwise it has bugs, and what's not tested is broken. The thing is, so we didn't run this with microcode because it previously how do we do that now? Do we remove that? because previously this was opt-in, because that was annoying as part of that. I don't know. I mean, we could change that to microcode by default, and you could disable that if you wanted to. Just to keep the code for now. I could also change it to that if you dash microcode to conditionalize that, like to always create the file, but if you do dash microcode to use the same Init Rd file name and prepend that. Actually, maybe that is somewhat useful. So, do we have oh, also best with typo. Yeah. But so this, by the way, no static. So if you blame shitty shell scripting, microcode, the same would have happened with, you know what, let's change this. The same would have happened with any statically typed language, to be fair. So let's change this in Hool. We do here microcode, because the other stuff doesn't make that much. It's not that helpful and stuff. So we could leave this here like true. And then we could use the same microcode variable because we don't need to use it later and we don't have local scoping. If this would be a function, I would use some local variable, but we don't because it's shitty shell scripting. So basically, if microcode, then the file name is microcode is, should use this. Right, the only thing is it's not that easy. Okay, a little bit, we need one more line, which is if microcode then that, otherwise microcode goes into out file, and then the only wait, microcode out file, otherwise that here. And the only thing is this file exists, right? So might exist. So we need to truncate that. For example, do we RM that or? Maybe we RM that. Otherwise, we might create an empty file if we don't have microcode here. Thinking out some edge conditions here. RM force, otherwise it fails if the file doesn't exist yet. And then we can remove that here because. Let's try that again. Then we have solved that as well. And so that's not necessary on the latest version of T2 anymore. I fixed this recently. Boot micro. Let's delete the wrong file. Just course microcode. And let's hope the rest still builds. We also need to copy this before I forget or delete. Okay. Init Rd to the sources in. Oh darn, this is so much to testing. I thought I fixed that already. Why is it still a thing? I thought, did I not fix this one? Is the Init Rd stuff, is this extracting the Init Rd out of the archive? Okay, let's not waste too much time, then we need to build. Maybe that is still a, let's verify that while this is building. Maybe we need to spend the 6 minutes after all, but at least we have already pre-tested the stuff that it should work and found like a typo and implemented another option. Boot, let's see if so set standard decompress the Init Rd and maybe this was was it the Init? Was it about the mini Rd? Maybe that was about the mini Rd. That is possible. Maybe I should watch that more closely. Yeah, must be. So that one looks right. Let's touch on the log file and okay, Init Rd. What was the argument? Minimal, maybe? Best with 2 dash. Is the default name mini Rd? I hope it is. We will see in a second. Probably the mini version with most basic. Let's see. Here, so that regenerated. So that is with way less drivers for most minimal, or less drivers, less firmware. Ah shit, this is wrong. Nothing like touching that twice. Let's hope that is all that was needed. Send provisioning, Linux shouldn't be there. Yeah, that doesn't matter the most. So Init Rd extending. Is it already done? Yeah, mini Rd. Yeah, so it was just a mini Rd. Recently tweaked that previous video. Now with thin Rust written thin provisioning for cache check. So do I have ISO? No, I don't. Scripts code ISO X. And that did not yet work apparently. Only one Init Rd line there is at least the what was it, microcode. We have a microcode image though. Maybe we have the same typo in boot. Microcode. If Bootloader build microcode image ISO fsdir boot. Looks right to me. If access boot microcode. If that exists Init Rd, I would say that looks right. Someone sees a typo there. By the way, we could add the mem test here, by the way, which is also to do. The only thing is detection of EFI versus non-EFI. Yes, so the mem test is there. So that is the, so yeah, that is probably why I didn't finish that the other day. I believe this loads like Linux. Also, the Linux version also works on EFI. What would be the, yeah, I mean, for now we can do it easy. That was bin and EFI. Yeah, so, but that is not most important. Oops, that's touch the mouse wheel. Then, oops. If that exists, then cat. So basically this menu entry thing and accept tabs. Mem times 6 plus or so. So yeah, not super ideal. So for, I believe for EFI we would need chain load. So I would need, I mean, we could probably do both here. I believe, did I even check that? We could, I didn't even test that yet, but I believe the other grub platform is, does that, I don't know if, I believe at least this should work if we only need to be careful here with quoting. So like if exists, if platform not PC, I don't want to look, the other is probably something with EFI, but that one is PC, right? Yeah, PC. So if that is not PC, then it's EFI. And so I don't have a visual Vim. PC, then I don't know if they have conditionals inside the menu entry. Maybe that would work too. I could test this later. So I believe this was chain load. I tested that on real hardware some months ago. Oops. I believe it was chain load, hopefully, and then it is iffy. Otherwise, that probably something like that should work. And what's not a better time to test that than tonight? I guess for that I deserve some lemonade. Not a paid advertisement, just mate tea. So, do we have any log of our X-trays? There we have X-trays. We have Init Rd micro. Why did not you, or did we? It should have had microcode. Did we somehow, what's going on? All right, did I quote that right? Maybe I didn't, though, did I? Interesting. So it should have had Init Rd equals that stuff. Let's see what's going on there. x86. ISO. What is in the grub config? Somehow this doesn't look the most correct. Where is it coming from? That does not really look like what we generated. What's going on? Am I in the right directory? 23 subversion. So syntax error somewhere. Yeah, we actually need to quote that there's, I mean, it looks, what have I done wrong there? Does someone see? It's a typo. What have I done wrong there? Except the platform needs to be conditional, otherwise shall. Actually, there was something with substitution, wasn't it? There was redirection. Where was the bloody redirection? Then all leading characters stripped input line. Was there not a? Or was there space? There was here strings and a range of here strings undergoes styled expansion, parameter expansion, real expansion. Quote removal, final expansion, splitting. No parameter and variable expansion command. So just not a space. Do I have a space there? But isn't that? I hope you learned something. I know there's no space. Why did it? Then I also don't know. Oh, whatever. Fine. I thought it's that, but maybe not. So some of this still doesn't work. Ah, wait. This I cut it wrong. Ah, here I forgot the Init Rd. And okay, so that solves this mystery. I thought I changed this, but apparently not. And here, that is missing the redirection to. Did someone notice that? Maybe not, unless my comments are not loading. So cat that to. Was that the syntax? Except I think I have an extra one there somewhere. Yeah, cat, so that is how we had that there. Not sure what's up. So let's try that one more time and hope for the best. How long is it going? Hey, 1 hour, exactly the magic live stream time. Oh, this is partial, so mem test. Can't find chain load. Oh wait, this is also wrong. Why is it doing? Platform, not PC. I think it's grub platform. What's not tested is broken. Grub platform. And that is why you test stuff. And theoretically, okay, we have i386 PC. The other will be EFI somewhere. There, x86. Do we even? So yeah, but it's pointless to check for that. So grub platform, and I mean I could. Let's test, because I don't like this double menu entry for not much. Let's test if we manually edit that for a test. Also with VI, with Vim. For you, syntax related viewing pleasure. ISO. Let's move that in the menu entry. I have no idea if that will work. I could read the freaking manual, but we could also just test it. Chain load, else, Linux. I have no idea if that works. We will see. Yeah, you're apparently probably 5 or so minutes behind. So, did I ISO? I did ISO. Interesting. So that is inside there. Does it? Wait, it has set params, or does it? Can't find. Oh darn! I didn't. Okay, maybe it works. It didn't complain. It didn't work because I didn't change the platform here. Hey, that works. Okay, cool. Then we can simplify that here in the real code. Namely, where is my chain load? Yeah. Oops. Memtest, grub platform, else, Linux, fee. Cool. So the other thing here I also need to greatly rewrite, but that is for another day. That is a long-standing bug or implementation vulnerability that only works here on if you are booting from CD on PC platforms. So ideally I probably want to write if bash supports. So basically we need to search for other AFI partitions, which I probably should be possible. Does grub does it have 4? Is this in commands? Yeah, either with if we want to loop for all potential AFI things or other. But anyway, oops. Nothing like testing your live streaming's system memory and virtualization. So yeah, then let's do that one more, maybe last time. Welcome to the first time on stream. Hope you enjoyed and learned something. Yeah, so if you don't, it's always amazing if you share, like, and subscribe. Patreon, GoFundMe, YouTube membership and stuff. But for those who can barely support themselves these days, that is fully understood. Highly appreciate watching, liking, and sharing as well then in that case. So ISO, and when that generated, then let's see, what did we, so this should have Init Rd, microcode, this looks all great now. If grub platform chain load probably is fine too. Yeah, so this still needs work. Okay, this one just, oh wait, does it? Oh, this even reboots. Amazing. And that also, so with preloaded, we can check, I mean, it worked otherwise. So if only the first Init Rd would have worked, we wouldn't have a proper Init Rd. And the second thing is, you see this on the size. I think the kernel doesn't have any output, unfortunately. I mean, obviously it's not updating the microcode in a VM. But it also does not print out anything there. But you see this from the size. So if the Init Rd size is larger, so that is 20 megabyte Init Rd, so that if that is, wait, 20, does it make sense? Why is the microcode? Ah, we have only the AMD. Okay, it is possible, but we only have the AMD microcode in there because probably I didn't had. So yeah, the only constant is change and regressions and testing, and the other win-win, like so many things here, right? If you're wondering why do I spend my lifetime now live streaming my life here live on YouTube, is like all the stuff. I mean, not only the attention to detail and dedication, like basically my whole Saturday afternoon gone improving our increasingly enterprise-ready Linux distribution, but also it needs time. I need to do it anyway. And first you need to implement it anyway. And what's not tested is broken or incomplete. And then also other win-win stuff of noticing, hey, we don't even include the Intel microcode by default. So like basically, if I would have said, now that's it, goodbye, good night, and I hope you learned something, and not checked, like showing you, hey, you can check the size, well, that's like wait a second, that size doesn't, like unit testing, right? What's not tested is broken, previous live stream. So firmware, and so we have this in 20, and I guess we don't have microcode. Of course we don't. So then we also want Intel, how do we call it? We call it Intel microcode, and so that we don't make copy typos again. Best always copy and paste, and you don't have typos. So yes, theoretically we would need to rebuild that, but yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so lots of stuff is, again, another hour dedicated to just raw, freaking amazing, and all CPU architectures supported Linux distribution. I hope you enjoyed this, learned something. Have a good weekend, day or night. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And I hope to see you soon for the next amazing steps of our Linux distribution to come.